baby, you know what the fuck it is, man. It's your boy Lil B and this motherfucker. Red Flame.
Hi, welcome to another Charlene show, and today we're going to talk about my experiences with a certain sub shop. Now, I worked at 3 different sub shops, one of them being in Pennsylvania and 2 of them being down here in Florida. So let's start off with talking about the one in Pennsylvania. Now, this sub shop was part of a gas station slash the only rest stop for miles. So they told me after they hired me that they'd been robbed with a shotgun a few weeks earlier. Great. And then there were these guys who would come in literally every morning and couldn't speak a lick of English. And no, they couldn't order pollo, the only meat that I know in Spanish. They had to sit there and point to everything. And then after the lunch rush, which would literally be out the door and down the block, the Indian dudes that worked the gas station would come through for their sandwiches. And I'd always offer them the roast beef and tell them how delicious the cow meat was. And they laughed because they had a pretty good sense of humor about it. They always ordered the nasty tuna. And by the way, mixing the tuna was one of my prep jobs. And I can't stand mayonnaise. I mean, I would rather suck on a monkey's infected paw than to even smell mayonnaise. If I'm near an open jar, I start dry heaving. Anyways, this job required me to put packs of tuna fish into this big, huge silver mixing bowl and squirt a bag of mayo like this big into it. And I'd have to mix it with my hands. Oh, God. I mean, the only way it could have been more disgusting for me is if it were an equal-sized bag of collective semen samples. And there was this really pretty 16-year-old girl that was working with us, and we had to fire this creepy middle-aged dude because he kept asking this poor little girl inappropriate questions like what she was doing that weekend, if she wanted to come to his house, and yeah. Ultimately, I got fired because I was too slow, which was the same reason I got fired from the franchise here back home. And that brings me to the Newport Richie store. I got hired right away because I had experience and everything, and I worked with this other girl that was obsessed with having children. She already had 3 and she was working on number 4 because my biological clock is ticking. She was 22. Anyhow, they trained me for the drive-through window, and the lady that trained me that was working the drive-through window, she had to be at least 400 pounds. And that's fine, except this woman never wore gloves, just refused to wear them. So if you've ever gotten a sandwich from this drive-through window, you got it served by a woman who probably just scratched her unaired-out pussy and ass crack sans gloves. And I was actually reprimanded for putting on gloves because it took up too much time. Again, I was fired from this store because I insisted on changing my gloves what they called too often. I changed gloves every 3 to 5 sandwiches, which to me wasn't enough. I mean, do you want to taste onions and black olives and someone else's Chipotle Southwest sauce? And by the way, I wanted to scream at these fucking retards. It's goddamn Chipotle, not Chipotle. I like to make every sandwich as if I were gonna eat it myself, and that's for real, because yeah, to me, it's just another sandwich closer to checkout time, but to that person I'm serving it to, who knows? Maybe it's their special dinner that they looked forward to all day long. Maybe it's someone's favorite fast food and they're getting it as a birthday treat or some shit. I took the art of sandwich making very seriously, and my bosses didn't like that. And finally, the third store I worked at, the Palm Harbor store, I was hired right away to replace someone who was abruptly fired. Uh, the first day I was there, my new boss tells me that the girl whose place I took was in the process of suing him for sexual harassment. He told me like all the details of it, and then he asks, I can't get in trouble for that, right? Right? First of all, he said it to me with the same tone one uses when they're guilty as shit and need reassurance. And secondly, holy shit, dude. It's my first fucking day. You think maybe you could be a little bit more discreet about your impending lawsuits so as not to scare away the new help? However, at this store, no one cared how long I took to make a sandwich because we were never busy. With a boss like mine, I could see why. And I never got fired from that store, but I left after I found out I was pregnant because the smell of that place, which I usually enjoy, was not my unborn son's cup of tea. Let's just put it that way. Oh, and in all three stores, the only thing fresh about anything was the bread. Don't fucking pride yourself on being a fresh sandwich shop unless you've got an on-site butcher shop. And this concludes another episode of Charlene's Show. Thank you for watching.